Sorry. We'll have to do this again, guys. Sorry. Episode 15 again. I won't cancel this one out. I just have to let it
You can see
slide
that
down.
stupid
Yeah.
iron scar on my arm.
I am Iron Ash. Dun, 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 dun. All right. I'm going to go over here, guys.
Ooh.
Sorry.
Should have put on extra deodorant this morning.
See? What the
Fucking
fuck
hot
is
in
going
Texas.
on? Oh. Sorry. Oh, and I found... I'm going to turn the volume down. I put this up here thinking maybe we'll have more room.
Okay.
Tell me...
Shut up.
You're like, okay. And then you go, me, Andre. My mic fucked up. Me mad. You got to limp everything today.
It's not fair. I curled my hair for you. Okay.
Now watch, you're going to barely fucking move it, and it's going to go, bam. Sound like you're having, like, intercourse.
All right.
Okay. That's not bad. And I found this stuff. I've been It's not going to change our voice. It makes it more crisper.
Oh,
So,
crispy.
Yeah, crispy.
Crispy.
Crispy. What do you think? You like how you sound? Are we a little loud? Let me turn our mics down. Well, here, you do this. I'll be getting this ready. Oh, and here you go, baby girl.
Thanks, man.
Only the best for my girls. Oh, Larry. I like the bass in my face and a douchebag.
Do, do, do.
Come on, cocksucker.
Da,
Cocksucker.
da. All right.
Well, I had this motherfucker on.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Sounds good. How you been doing? Chipotle.
It has been...
It's been 1 week since you looked at me, kicked my face and said I was sorry.
It's been a long week.
She always looks forward to our podcast.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm happy.
So I'm going to check to make sure this is still red. We're still red right there. Give him a nice salute. And then we're going to go record me or record us. Want to do a run through like we do?
Sure.
It took you a minute.
Well, I didn't know if I was feeling like going ahead and just doing it. Or...
Well, we'll do like we normally do. If it feels good, we won't stop.
Okay. Ew.
That's how we roll. We just start, and if it feels good, we don't stop. You silly goose.
Isn't that what everybody does?
Well, I stop when it feels so good.
That fan feels good on my feet.
Oh, man. I love it when it's on my clutch. Clutchicante.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, come on the fuck on.
Oh, are you still trying to get your computer turned on?
Well, it was turned on a minute ago. And then it decided to be Mr. Dickface. Ooh, sorry. Did I upset the computer? Oh, I'm holding a button too long, I take it. 1, 2, 3.
Is it dead?
No. I was just sitting there doing that.
Man, I'm really sorry that you have to sit by me because I did not put enough deodorant on this morning.
That's okay. I just burped and I still got dinner on my mouth with a little bit.
Well, that shit was good. It was the brisket.
The brisket was so very good. Hey, you want to let me show you something? You want to put your cord like right here a little bit so it's out of your way?
How'd you stick it up there?
Like that.
Oh, because the twisty deal?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't see it from the back.
Correct. Oh, shit, Toblins. All right, Vato, I'm ready when you are. And you can do your story first today. When it's story time. Oh, and today your deep thoughts are from hot secretaries.
Oh, hell yeah.
But I had to stop at 4.
I know you told me, but I need you to tell everybody on the podcast.
Ooh. Yeah, I was on a road too, and I read that, and I was like,
Sorry, I was sounding a little... Okay, that's better. The other one was a little bit echoey.
I know. See, Lexi likes the echoey. I don't. I like the more crisp.
I like it crispy.
Okay. Get a drink. Get the vocal cords ready.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, mamma mia, mamma mia! I bet you my neighbors think I'm fucking nuts. Let's do it.
Mine too. Okay, hold on.
Okay, just stop it and delete it. Go up there and delete that.
Can't you just record over it?
Nah, but then it kind of... We'll get the background of the little puppy going. Okay.
I'm trying to think of what I want. Oh, that's the fan. I was like, is my goddamn phone already ringing? I mean, it did, but it was just text messages. Nobody input. I'm with the most important guy right here.
Right here. Borderline Trash. Our fans. What if this Podbean thing takes off too? Oh God, I didn't know when it was going to start recording.
It's okay. I thought
shit.
I would just start it.
Oh.
What's up, all you trash lovers?
Mother-loving, trash-eating, double-wide living people.
God damn it.
Fuck, I don't know.
I'm feeling so goofy today.
I know.
Okay, what's something funny off airplane from last night?
We can work in the Shirley thing.
Okay.
I can be like,
welcome to another episode of Borderline Texas Trash. Shirley, you're going to have a great time.
I hope they do, and don't call them Shirley.
Okay. Hey, you trash lovers. Welcome to another episode of Borderline Texas Trash. Surely you're going to love episode 15.
They probably will, but don't call them Shirley.
Damn it.
They might get offended by that.
Unless their name is Shirley.
Well, that guy on airplane, that's all he kept saying. Surely you're not serious. I'm serious, and don't call me Shirley. We had to watch that last night.
If you have never seen it, it's an old dry comedy. You should watch it.
Hey, guys, we have an idea for a podcast to watch along. And it's going to be on Grease. Why don't y'all DM us on Facebook and tell us what y'all think?
Yeah, any ideas, really, for any kind of watch-alongs.
And I was thinking of doing our shout-outs and stuff and emails and where we're at towards the end. So.
Absolutely.
Freaking A. That way we'll have more arts and crafts time at the front of it to say, hey, our week's been good. Yeah, hey.
It's trucking along. Not really any new news, but not really any bad news.
Nothing bad, nothing really good.
Just kind of same old shit.
It's hard as shit to find out stuff about all the perverts in Hollywood. They're not talking about that.
That is something that I would like to announce, is that we don't talk about politics or anything on here, but in general, like the huge Hollywood / political pedophile movement.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
That island with
pedophilia is not a sexual orientation. Get that shit out of here.
Yeah.
We kill pedos around here. I mean, I've never actually killed a pedo, but if somebody got a hold of my kid, I'd do time in prison. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So that's really, like, I guess the hot thing right now. But
yeah, I'm not even mad about the Black Lives Matters and the protesting. What's pissing me off is
nobody's talking about.
Yeah, no one's talking about it. Where's these kids' voices at? You know,
they're probably going to make us take this episode down because we mentioned it.
They've been taking stuff off of Facebook, but I guess we'll get off of that subject. And how's y'all's been going? That way, if they take it, we'll still be talking.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're just covering our ass from the guy, big brother. So, want to start out with some stupid news around the world today?
I would love to.
Oh, gosh, you're going to love this one. You know how in baseball, or sports, period, there's no fans? And the fans,
don't they have the cutouts?
Yeah, they have the cutouts. Now, in Japan, they have baseball. And you know what they're doing? Because they're so smart with the robots. They're having robots in the stands dancing and stuff.
They're probably, like, used sex dolls.
Ew, God. Yay, Johnny. Bat me.
Yeah.
Bat me.
Weren't they the ones that
Strike down the middle.
weren't they the ones that made the realistic ones?
Oh, yeah, them were China. One
Oh,
of them-
Japan. Sorry, that's
Yeah.
racist. Not the same thing.
I know. And then a vermont, a vermin,
A vermin.
a Vermont farmer returns prosthetic leg that skydiver lost during a jump. It was
Well,
in his,
that's really nice of
it was
him.
in his field.
Those are expensive.
Could you imagine?
No,
You're out there in
but
your tractor or doing your field work, and what the? Hey, pick that up over
that
there.
damn near's leg.
Yeah. Could you imagine? That'd be freaking crazy. Now, where is like the least place you would expect to find an alligator?
Oklahoma.
Try Chicago.
What?
Yeah, there was one in Chicago at one of the lakes up there. And apparently he was only 3.5 foot. He wasn't that big yet.
He was a little one.
Yeah. But apparently he's been there for a while because his name is Alex.
Oh, so they even named him.
Yeah,
Like he just hangs out.
The neighborhood that it lives around the lake calls him
Everybody
Alex.
just lets him live there.
I guess so.
Well,
And
that's
that-
nice.
The swimmers that reported him, I guess, weren't from around the area. So when they reported it, at first,
Everybody was like, "Oh, that's just Alex."
Yeah.
Don't worry about
and
it.
they're
It's
like,
just
so
Alex.
but for everybody's safety, they had to take him and they're going to ship him down south somewhere, probably to a zoo or something, or back in the wild.
But Alex was.
Yeah, but how's he going to survive up there? I don't see how he survived. I mean,
I
like the
know.
winters,
That's what I was about to say. As soon as winter comes,
Oh,
he'll
God, yeah.
freeze to death. So.
he'd be a gator sickle. Ba-ding dang. Oh, God dang. This one's hilarious. This is the Pie Bandit. This guy was going, what he was doing, he was sitting in a parking lot and watching girls stalking them. Whoever was
Ew,
the
what a fucking
cutest and had
pervert.
like the tightest shorts on and the skimpiest dresses and all that. When they went in the store, he would go out and put like a regular pie under their back tire. So they would, when they seen it, they would see it and bend over and pick it up, and he was taking pictures.
What a fucking pervert!
Yes, he was fucking putting full size
Did he get
pies.
In
Yeah,
trouble?
that's how he got caught.
What a jerk!
Yeah. So ladies, or men, you don't know with this guy. If you get out and go inside of the store and come out and there's a pie under your tire, look around. It's not America's Funniest Videos. This guy's stroking it to your image. Then, of course, I can't ever forget, leave Florida out. They've always got something going.
Always.
But a Florida man was arrested about a week ago for kicking the ducks and the swans in a park.
That's not very nice.
He was practicing his fucking karate.
Where do you practice your karate at? In the park on the ducks. Fuck them ducks.
People had pictures and he was all, yeah, bah! And he...
What an idiot.
I couldn't quit laughing. I'm sorry. I just had the middle picture and the picture of this guy just nicking the shit out of some ducks and swans. When they get up to fly, he roundhouses them. Wow!
Good. Good.
Yeah, but he got tossed in the shit up. He got tossed in the can.
Oh, he went to jail for that?
Yeah.
Well.
You can't go around kicking ducks.
You want me to test it out?
Oh, don't.
I'll tell you if I get arrested next week.
We'll find her mug shot and everything.
That
See,
would be
that's all
great.
they're talking about. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no Hollywood.
The only some kind of news I had was we already talked about the pedo thing. I'm sorry, I ate too much.
Yeah,
and-
we didn't want to do the podcast on an empty stomach because
But
I
I
hate
went-
talking and I
ugh.
hate hearing my stomach go.
But Steven just had to make a perfect brisket.
Hey, I put it in
and-
the crock pot all freaking day and night. You know what I mean?
And I ate way too much.
Oh, God. We all OD'd on some brisket.
So I'm a little bit brisket sleepy.
Oh.
The only other news thing that I wanted to talk about because I thought it was a little weird. Record-setting summer temperatures across Siberia are opening up the. And I'm really sorry if I pronounce anything wrong today.
Oh, they got a big glacier up there.
It's called the Batagayka Mega Slump. The locals call it the gateway to the underworld.
Yeah.
It's basically just like a large glacier / crater.
Yes.
It is identified as such because of it's a deep pit of methane gas, and it appeared in the Siberian Republic of Sakha in the 1960s after forest area was cleared, causing the land to sink in. It's currently the world's largest mega slump, and it's about half a mile wide and roughly 270 foot deep. And as the ice around the edges melts away, the crater is showing evidence of the growing rate at about 30 to 100 foot per year.
I've seen
that.
They
think it's getting deeper too, and they're finding all kinds of shit in it, like real well preserved remains of animals and plants that have been extinct since the Ice Age.
Dude, there's another place in Siberia, because it's always so cold, and it's the same thing. It's a damn glacier that's it's a glacier that's that's melting, and they're getting like full intact mammoths, woolly mammoths.
Holy shit!
Yeah, it's crazy.
That'd be so cool.
And see, that's what scares me. No one wants to think about that. The globe. If them glaciers keep melting.
Oh yeah, no.
They say within close to 100 years, mineral wells would be like oceanfront property. Yeah. That's how much everything's gonna rise. They said it's already rose.
And we're like what, 6 hours from the coast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it messes up the water temperatures and the great coral reefs around Australia. Some of them are dying.
They're dying.
And we need them for our ecosystem, but no one gives a crap about that either.
Well, unfortunately, as humans, our biggest fault is that we just destroy everything we touch.
Yes, we do. We're like that little girl and a puppy. Oh, I love you and squeeze you and hold you and call you for my own. And then we end up just spilling oil.
But I still thought that was interesting.
That's cool, though.
Do you remember a couple years ago they thought it was from fracking. They thought it was from like all the earthquakes and everything else. I think it was in California, maybe. The sinkholes that just kept popping up. And there was that one that popped up in the guy's house, and he heard his buddy in the other room literally fall in the hole, and like they could never find him again.
Yeah.
Can you imagine just chilling right now and the living room just gets sucked in?
Well, what's happening too, a lot of them places are built on limestone. And limestone, after time, if the water comes down, but underground, it makes these caverns and starts, because that water eats away limestone. Cool. And then next thing you know, you got underground That's how they got them underground caverns in Mexico and all that, where the Aztecs and the Mayans had.
I would like to go, but it's not safe to travel there anymore.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Because, man, they're exploring so much. They use this thing called a LiDAR, and they can fly over a forest now and delete the forage, and they'll show you what was there. They're finding like more pyramids of Aztecs, more Maya and stuff. Yeah. Well, because like they said, when they left, it all overgrown.
I'm all about that history, man.
Yeah, history.
History.
I'll be like that nasty science or history teacher that used to do this and look down the girls' blouses. Yes.
Be the old dirty professor.
Just call me old dirty bastard professor.
We're gonna keep going with the mob style crime spree shit that we're covering right now because, as you all should know, and Steven knows, I am dying, but I have said I'll wait till September to start recording spooky stuff. I got away with last week's episode because
a friend requested it. And
it was a friend request. Evidence. It was the only request we've had for the podcast, and it was still a murder and not 100% spooky. But I hope y'all are ready. I'll be covering aliens. I'll be covering ghosts, all kinds of shit in September and October.
And who knows? I might be covering you.
Yeah. But for now, we are still doing mob stuff, and I decided to educate y'all on the original Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah, not that stupid dip that raps with the tattoos. That's not Machine Gun Kelly.
You know what's funny too is everybody in our family knows that we record on Wednesday, and almost all the younger people said, you know, what are you going to do today? And I said Machine Gun Kelly, and even Lexi was like, the rapper? And I was like, no.
That's why I wanted her
The
to do it.
original Machine Gun Kelly, he ripped that name off of a gangster.
Yeah, trying to be cool.
I would kind of fit him in the same group as like John Dillinger.
He's that. He's just
and he's
like,
in the same kind of era.
Well, that's like that rapper. His name was he stole the name Rick Ross from the real Rick Ross that was the drug dealer.
Oh, I didn't know
He
that.
took his name. That guy that sings that song, Every Day I'm Hustling.
Yeah.
Well, he's a big fake. He was a fucking security guard. And the record company grabbed him up and said, hey, we're going to slap Rick Ross on you. And
really?
yeah, they took that motherfucker's name and made money off of it. The government
so
fucked
disappointing.
him too.
Everybody sucks.
Enchiladas.
They do.
See, this is real gangsta stuff.
It is. Now, I'm going to tell you guys ahead of time that I had a little bit of a rough time putting timelines together because every article, the storylines matched up, but everybody had the dates a little wrong. So feel free, if you're listening to this and you actually happen to know about him, if I say anything wrong, shoot us a message or whatever. I'll be happy to correct it. But
just don't use a Tommy gun.
Just bear with me. And so today I will be covering George Kelly Barnes, a.k.a. the original Machine Gun Kelly.
Yes.
The original Machine Gun Kelly was an American bootlegger, bank robber, and kidnapper who made headlines in the 1930s. He was sentenced to life in prison along with his wife Catherine Kelly in 1933. That is so long ago. That's
I wonder
crazy.
if that's her.
Which one?
Right there, that's pick.
Yeah, that one's her. He was married. He was married twice. So
these guys could clean up good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just like John Dillinger, he was a very good-looking man. Had like a baby face. Always fixed his hair. Usually had like nice clothes on. All of his mugshots, he looks like a good-looking dude. George Kelly Barnes was born on July 18th in 1895 in Memphis, Tennessee, to insurance executive George Frederick Barnes Jr. and Elizabeth Kelly Barnes. He was raised in a respectable neighborhood and attended Central High School. Now, with the date mix-up things, everybody on the internet can't seem to pinpoint his exact birth year. Some say it was 97, some say it was 95, and his son stated in a book that he was born in 1900. So, just wanted to clarify that the 1895, I'm not 100% sure. But unfortunately, little is known about his parents, his early life, and his childhood. It basically is, this is where he was born, this is where he was born too.
Copper, you'll never get me, Copper. I'm sorry, that's what I looked
It's okay.
When I seen that picture, that's all I could think about.
I mean, I can hear it.
See?
He's playing on his Google machine.
Yeah, I'm looking at some little gangster, and it just made me laugh. Babyface Nelson.
So his early life story, we're going to start actually in college because I couldn't find anything childhood.
See, I didn't know he went to college. I bet you
it didn't last very long.
Oh.
In September 1917, he enrolled at Mississippi A&M, later on Mississippi State University in Jackson, to study agriculture. However, he was a poor student and was in constant trouble with the faculty. His first semester alone, he was given 31 demerits, and in the first few weeks of the second semester was given another 24.
Damn.
So he left college not even a year later on January 27, 1918. But while he was in college, he met his first wife, Geneva Ramsey. She was the daughter of a successful Memphis businessman named George F. Ramsey, and she was also from Memphis. They eloped in Clarksdale, Mississippi in 1919 and went on to have two sons, Bruce and George Jr. He didn't have any with his second wife, so these are the only two kids that he had. And I tried to find the name of the book. I'm just not completely sure, but one of the boys apparently wrote a book about his dad. In the beginning, Geneva's father did not care for Kelly, but
they became pals.
Yeah, they did actually. Despite his initial dislike and mistrust of George Barnes, he had developed a prosperous business building levees and railroads in the Mississippi River Valley, and believed Barnes was trying to make an honest effort to turn his life around, like for the kids and stuff. So he offered him a job. The pair, from what I could read, got close. They developed mutual respect, and Barnes even looked up to him as a father figure. But unfortunately, in the mid 1920s.
Ooh, the 20s.
Yeah, well, this is one of the sad
Prohibition time.
Unfortunately, in the mid 1920s, however, Ramsey, the father-in-law, died as a result of a dynamite accident.
Hey.
The incident supposedly devastated George and sent him into a tailspin that led to one failed job after another. The widow, Geneva's mother, sold the business and tried to help her daughter and their family out, and gave them a few options for fresh starts, a used car business, which didn't work out, and a goat farm, which didn't work out. So then Barnes turned back to his father and tried the insurance business, but when this did not produce the results he wanted, he turned back to bootlegging because it was the one thing that he had achieved some success in.
Well, he could make some good money.
Exactly. His wife was firmly against his career move and repeatedly threatened to divorce him on several occasions. Eventually, after multiple failed attempts to make it work, Geneva packed up the family and returned to Memphis, this time leaving Barnes for good. Later on in time, she was granted a divorce. I couldn't find much else about his sons after this, so I don't think he really spent a whole lot of time with them.
Probably not, because he was always on the go.
Yeah. So now he's completely on his own again, and instead of going by George Barnes, he now goes by George Kelly. He stayed in Kansas City for a while and developed a small bootlegging business. Working with several partners, Kelly expanded this business all the way through to Texas, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Mississippi, and eventually into New Mexico. Until one day in 1923, when he was caught operating a steel near present-day Ridgeway and sentenced to 6 months in the county workhouse. He ran, eventually turned up a few years later in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where he was arrested for bootlegging and fined $250, and in another arrest in Tulsa, Oklahoma, for selling liquor on an Indian reservation, sent him to the federal pen in Leavenworth, Kansas, for a 3-year term.
He was just trying to make a living.
Well, this was prime time for bootlegging. Like, I couldn't find, so obviously I like to be able to tell you guys, like, in-depth stuff. I don't want to just tell you the basic stuff that you hear. Like, we really do spend time, like, trying to find shit. There was one that I wanted to cover about the Bondurant boys, and it's based off a movie called Lawless, but I couldn't find hardly anything.
I've noticed that with some stuff that I research, it's easy to find. Just some stuff is just, there's nothing.
Yeah, so like with Machine Gun Kelly, I could find all his crime, but like I said, they're not even, nobody's even sure what year he was born.
Yeah, that's
from everything I read. So yeah, he did his first stint in a federal pen, and while he was in there, he befriended bank robbers Charlie Harmon, Frank Nash, Francis Keating, and Thomas Holden. Using forged trustee passes, Keating and Holden walked out of the federal prison in late February 1930. Isn't that interesting? I'm just going to walk out of the prison today.
Yeah, I'm tired of being here, guys. What's a trustee
pass?
What's a what?
A trustee pass. It said using forged trustee passes.
Oh, it's trusty pass that they give their printers to trust them to come back. Yeah.
That was a thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
For real.
That's funny.
How do you think he got out the gate? He couldn't have got out with them passes.
Prison
I didn't
officials,
know that, though, but
yeah.
that's...
The prison officials later accused Kelly and Harmon because they worked in the photography department of the Leavenworth's prison.
They made their own
record
trusty
section.
passes.
Yeah, but nothing ever came to that. They couldn't prove anything. So Keating and Holden escaped and headed for St. Paul, which, along with Kansas City and Hot Springs, Arkansas, were considered safe cities for underworld figures because of their corrupt city government. Nash would also escape from Leavenworth later that year, and he too headed to the safety of St. Paul. So when Kelly was released in the 1930s, that's eventually where he was headed. Now,
here's a little story I got to tell. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. This was one of the parts where I was talking about on timelines. Like, some articles mentioned that this happened after, before, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But when he was released in 1930 and he was going to head to St. Paul, he made stops in Fort Worth and Oklahoma City, where he eventually hooked up with a bootlegger called Little Steve Anderson.
What's it got to be Steve? What is it got to be Little?
It was sometime after his release from Leavenworth during this travel time that he met his second wife, Catherine Thorne, an attractive brunette with a quick wit and friendly smile, and who was also Anderson's mistress.
Oh. So she got passed around like a bottle of
Well,
scotch.
and that's what I was about to say. So Catherine Thorne, born Cleo May Brooks, eventually decided to call herself Catherine because it sounded more glamorous. Was born in 1904 in Saltillo, Mississippi. Had been married several times, was involved in bootlicking, and had a record of her own, including prostitution and theft.
Lovely.
She was said to have been a tough woman who often frequented speakeasies, could drink liquor like water, and ran with the crowd of other tough women.
Oh, like Ash Handy, who's really tough.
She'd been married 3 times by the time she met Kelly. Her first one at only age 15, which was normal for that time, but still, she started early. She's also said to have been the one that bought Kelly his first Thompson submachine gun.
That's love right there. I wish I could be the woman who'd buy me his submachine.
Which, this was a fun fact. I'm not really sure how true this is, but I guess he earned his nickname Machine Gun Kelly because he became so proficient in using the gun, he could write his name in lead and knock walnuts off a fence at 25 paces.
Yeah, that's one thing I remember about him. They say he was awesome with that Tommy gun.
Well, you can thank his whore of an old lady because apparently she bought it for him.
Well, see, whores are okay.
So anyways,
at least she bought him a gun and bought him something. The
whores
absolutely. Of today just want you to buy them something.
And I saw pictures of them. Like, she wasn't, I'm not saying it's okay, but she was a really pretty lady. She just was a little bit of a whore.
She liked the candy sausage.
Yeah. So her and George soon developed a romance and ran off together, allegedly in Little Steve's Cadillac.
Wow.
After the Kellys became famous, the bootlegger Little Steve boasted to the Tulsa World in 1933 that he married Catherine and employed Barnes for 5 years until his pedigreed bulldog disappeared. And he was quoted saying, "I don't mind Kelly taking my wife in my car, but I wish he'd left that dog."
Oh my God. I don't mind him taking my wife on my car.
I couldn't get a straight year for Catherine Thorne and George Kelly's marriage, but they did go off and elope. And then she started traveling with him as he started his career of criminal activity.
Criminal.
Which they didn't waste any time on July. So he was released in, 1930?
Yeah.
July 15th, 1930. Keating and Holden, remember the ones that got out on their trustee passes?
Oh, the Trustee Brothers.
Yeah. They showed their gratefulness to Kelly for his help in their escape from Leavenworth by inviting him to participate in robbing the bank of Wilmar, Minneapolis, a small town about 100 miles west of St. Paul.
It's always the little towns.
Yep. Accompanying the robbery was Harvey Bailey, Vern Miller, and Sammy Silverman. They were just part of a gang, and an estimated $70,000 was stolen. But it was not a clean robbery, and they had some mistakes. A cashier was pistol whipped.
Oh.
And when a group of onlookers formed outside the bank, one of the gunmen got kind of pissed off and unleashed a burst from his Tommy gun into the crowd, wounding a few of them.
Way to go, dumbass.
Yeah. A month later, Silverman, one of the men that was on the robbery, and 2 of his associates from Kansas City were found shot to death in a wooded area just outside of St. Paul.
I wonder why.
Exactly. During a prison interview in 1934, Kelly claimed Miller had committed the murders after Silverman had double-crossed him. So one of the other guys on the job apparently did it.
Double-crossing whore.
So yeah, he just kept robbing banks. In September 1930, he helped rob a bank in Ottumwa, Iowa, with a group of bandits, including Holden, Keating, Baylor, Miller, Fred Barker, and Larry Duvall.
Duvall. Is that Stephen Duvall?
Isn't that a celebrity?
I think so.
Google it. You have your Google machine. Who is Stephen Duvall? Because I really don't know. I feel like I should, though.
Okay, there we go. Steve. God. Sorry. I'm such a retard. Okay, here we go. Steve.
D-E Ball.
Duvall, right there, I guess.
Yeah.
That just sounds familiar. Stephen Duvall.
Head of talent casting.
Oh, wait, you know?
Maybe I don't know him.
Huh. Never mind, guys. I don't guess, I just do that. That name sounds familiar, but I don't know.
Well, anyways, if you know who Stephen Duvall is and you know what we're talking about, send us a message, please.
Please.
So they keep robbing banks.
It's great.
April 8th, 1931, they took $40,000 from the Central State Bank of Sherman, Texas. Kelly actually met the man near the Louisiana border in a second getaway car. So he did not participate in that one. He just participated in the getaway. Then they continued to rob banks in Nebraska, Minnesota, and Wisconsin.
They just went on a little spree there. He's like,
Harmon was eventually, one of the guys that was in the gang, was eventually killed on November 19th, 1931, following a $100,000 bank robbery with Holden and Keaton at Menominee, Wisconsin. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that.
I used to live up there. That sounds about right. Metamosky.
Francis Keating and Thomas Holden eventually joined with the Alvin Capri Barker gang to rob a bank in Fort Scott, Kansas on June 17th, 1932, and Keating and Holden were arrested a month later. Kelly participated in some of the robberies and at other times lived with his wife Catherine in Fort Worth, Texas. His list of underworld associates grew as he made his way from Texas to Kansas City, Chicago, and even Minneapolis.
He traveled around.
He did. He became acquainted with the members of the Kid Can Syndicate in Minneapolis, with Chicago mobsters, with Alvin Capri, and the Barkers, or Carpi.
The Barkers.
Yeah. His other accomplices on various crimes included Eddie Bentz, Eddie Dahl, and Albert Bates. I know Albert Bates was another popular career criminal. I don't know about the other two.
Yeah, he ran a hotel in California. Bates, yeah.
Shut up.
What? Bates ran a hotel in California.
Really?
Called the Bates Motel. You never heard of the Bates Motel?
That was a TV show.
No, but for real.
And that was Norman Bates.
That was Alias. He was a gangster.
True.
That explains why he was such a mama's boy.
I understand everything now.
See? He bought that hotel with all his gangster money.
In September 1932, Kelly Bates, Eddie Bentz, and another seasoned bank robber traveled to Colfax, Washington, near the eastern edge of the state, where on September 21st they robbed the First Trust and Savings Bank of Colfax for $77,000.
Damn.
Which you gotta understand.
If he would have saved all that money, he'd have been a millionaire.
Oh, well, we'll get to that.
Because it's so
He did. They never recovered all of it.
Oh, God. I was going to say, because just a quick math on what I could see, it's close to $300,000 in money they robbed.
Well, and that's the equivalent to how much now?
Oh, that's, I'd say close to $2 million now, I think.
Yeah, it's something like that.
He could have did.
From everything that I read, these guys would go on these bank robberies and then divide the money up between them. And then, I don't know about all of them, but like Kelly would stick his in jars and bury it at certain hideout places.
Oh my God.
And he had so many, they were never able to recover all the money.
Jesus.
So yeah, he did save it. Sorry. My phone's
that's crazy up. with outlaws like that. When they have their loot, it goes to the cemetery with them because they can't tell anybody. That's like Pablo Escobar. They are still finding money that he buried. That man had much money buried.
So he did save this, but
yeah.
Eventually, you know, as they all do, he gets caught and he ends up in jail, and the money buried underground doesn't no good. Yeah, $77,000. So within weeks from that robbery, the police raided Kelly's home in Fort Worth, but the couple had already fled. Bentz was arrested. He admitted to knowing Kelly and Bates and acknowledged they had a hideout somewhere in Texas, but would not reveal the location and denied any involvement in the Colfax robbery.
I did nothing.
He eventually was able to make bail, and he fled the state too. So, that is cool. Yeah, he kept his mouth shut.
Hell yeah, see, that wouldn't happen today.
Yeah. So this is where we get to the end of the bank robbing part. The bank robbing is not really what made him so famous. There was, so many groups of people that were doing it. So he was getting well known within the criminal world, but he really wasn't like super famous with like newspapers and stuff yet. His last known bank robbery was on November 30th in 1932. He, Bates, and a Chicago hoodlum named Eddie Dahl robbed the Citizen State Bank of Tupelo, Mississippi for $38,000. The bank's chief teller even went on to say that Kelly was the kind of guy that if you looked at him, you would never think that he was a bank robber.
Well, looking at his pictures,
he was a good-looking dude.
Yeah, he just looks like a normal Joe.
So it's 1932, 1933-ish, and bank robbery is getting kind of old.
Yeah, it kind of started.
So the criminals are like, "Hey, you know what sounds fun? Kidnapping, relatively safe, easy way to a hefty payday." Yep. So now I could not find anything that confirmed this, so I'm just going to read this front part. I don't, whatever. Apparently, he had 2 first attempts in kidnapping before he did his other 2 that made him famous. But they were way less than perfect in both cases, and he actually even worked with a former police officer named Bernard Phillips. Neither of them did very well at all. In the first one, the victim was accidentally killed when Phillips' gun discharged for unknown reasons.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. In the second, Kelly basically said, I decline any direct involvement because he believed that the victim didn't have any money. And if you're kidnapping, you're going after people who have money. Phillips went ahead with the plan anyway and quickly learned that Kelly was correct and the victim didn't have shit. So
Booyah.
Luckily, they never got in trouble for that one. I guess the guy just took off and was happy he didn't die. But Kelly wisely decided to end all ties with the cop and went about his way to...
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah. To bigger...
Way to go. She's over here punching the microphone.
I can't help it.
Having a freaking match.
So, the two kidnapping stories that made him popular. So his first real one occurred at South Bend, Indiana on January 27th, 1932. Howard Wolverton was a local manufacturer and banker's son. He was driving home from a theater with his wife. They were forced off the road by another car. Two gunmen entered their car, and Howard Wolverton was ordered to drive out of town. Following the two gunmen was another vehicle. They got 2 miles outside of the city. One of the gunmen took Wolverton back to the vehicle that had followed and left his wife, Florence, with a note demanding $50,000 ransom.
Fuck it. They should have went for 30.
Yeah. Dumbasses.
If I'm getting in trouble, I'm going to do it good.
George, Kelly, and Eddie Dahl were the two guys that were in on this one. After driving a blindfolded Wolverton around northern Indiana for 2 days, the victim finally convinced his kidnappers he was unable to pay the ransom. So they released him on the outskirts of Michigan City on his promise that he would raise the money later. But despite threatening letters and phone calls demanding the money, the guy just ignored them, and they never saw anything from that deal either.
That was... wow.
So...
you suck.
Yeah. It is basically should have stuck to bank robbing.
Yeah.
Because the kidnapping deal is really what ended up getting him caught. So now they're like, okay, we suck. We've got to find somebody that has money, which brings along the famous Urschel kidnapping. That's the one that he's the most famous for.
Urschel.
On the night of July 22nd, 1933, Kelly and an accomplice calmly walked onto the sun porch of millionaire oil man Charles F. Urschel while he and his wife
effing kidding me.
were playing cards with friends at their Oklahoma City mansion. Two men armed with a machine gun and the other a pistol opened the screen door and inquired which of the two men were Mr. Urschel. Receiving no reply, they just said, well, we'll take both of them. They warned the women not to call for help. And then they marched the two men, Urschel and the other guy's last name was Jarrett, to their car, blindfolded them, dumped them in the back seat of their roadster, and drove off in the middle of the night. They were driven to a point about 12 miles northeast of the city, and after the captives were identified, Jarrett was released because, obviously, they just wanted the rich guy, Urschel. 1 a.m. Sunday, July 23rd. Jarrett made his way back to the Urschel residence. God damn it. A few days later, the Urschel family received a ransom demand for $200,000. This was the largest ransom ever demanded up to that time. Ever. Among other things, the type note explained, remember this, if any trickery is attempted, you will find the remains of Urschel. And instead of joy, there will be double grief. For someone very near and dear to the Urschel family is under constant surveillance and will likewise suffer for your error. So, they actually got it on this one. The money was eventually dropped off outside a hotel in Kansas City, and per the instruction, 9 days later, Urschel was back with his family unharmed. They pulled it off. I gotta take a drink of water because I've been talking a lot. But
yeah, she talks all the time.
I'm about to tell you how he got caught.
He got caught using the money to buy a house.
I don't think it's that easy. My goodness.
Quit farting. God. Brisket gives her gas.
No, it doesn't.
Wow, defensive. That means
you know that
gas.
I don't freaking fart or poop.
Well, I mean, you're over here cutting them. Don't blame it on the chair because it's leather.
I'm not farting.
It's leather, so fart.
So, before I tell you guys what happened with Kelly, this was a turning point This is just really sad, but one of the reasons why it was such a big deal, why they did what they did, is the Lindenberg Law. If you don't know about that.
Yeah, Lindenberg. His baby got stolen.
It was a really sad situation where the same thing happened, but in 1932, they stole a 20-month-old kid, and he was abducted right from his crib in the upper floor of his home in Highfield.
That's what's so crazy.
In
you
New
ever
Jersey.
Looked into that? That's crazy.
And on May 12th, the child's corpse was discovered by a truck driver on the side of the road. So they made kidnapping a federal offense punishable by death or life imprisonment, and they called it the Lindenberg Law. So by this point, you know, it didn't matter if you would have just kidnapped a grocery store clerk. Like, they were trying to take it super seriously because this little kid had just died.
Yep.
Machine Gun Kelly was the first person to be charged under the Lindenberg Law.
Oh my God.
It was literally just that he couldn't have picked the worst timing on the planet.
Wow.
So, the Urschel case was the first gangland kidnapping under the Lindenberg Law, and police officials were determined to set an example. Hoover, FBI Hoover, who did the shit with Dillinger.
Yeah.
He announced he was taking personal charge of the case, and he did, and promised to catch the dirty yellow rats responsible. Nationwide manhunt began, but it was actually Urschel's excellent memory that led authorities to his captors. Although he was blindfolded much of the time, he had noticed the sound of oil pumps working in a nearby field, and he recalled that a twin-engine airplane had flown directly overhead, except for one day when it rained. So a quick check of all flight schedules around Oklahoma City, combined with other details Urschel provided, led detectives to a lonely farmhouse outside of Paradise, Texas. This is another thing that Kelly fucked up on. The farmhouse where they were keeping him was Catherine's parents.
Oh, God.
So once they found out the farmhouse was Catherine's parents.
They just put two and two together.
They knew it was them, and on September 25th, 1933, Kelly stepped outside in his underwear and picked up the paper. When he came back inside, he walked down the hallway to the bathroom and forgot to lock the door behind him.
Way to go, mister.
At that moment, two cars pulled up quietly outside the house. Special agents from the FBI leapt out and had a sawed-off shotgun, stepped into the living room and found it empty. Through an open doorway, they caught a glimpse of homeowners asleep, but they still couldn't find Kelly. Then Kelly just stepped out of the bathroom with a pistol in his hand. With a shotgun aimed at his heart, he knew the game was up, so he said, "Okay, boys," and dropped the gun to the floor and said, "I've been waiting all night for you." And Catherine was asleep in the back room.
Oh.
So, yeah. The Kellys and Shannons in the first conviction were the jury responded with the expected verdict guilty in the trial of the Urschel kidnapping case, and the Kellys and Shannons were the first conviction under the Lindenberg Law. They were all sentenced to life imprisonment on October 9th, 1933. Catherine Kelly and her mother were shipped to the Women's Federal Prison in Alderson, West Virginia. She remained there until she was paroled in 1958.
We're shipping you out of here.
She actually got out in 1958, worked for a nursing home in Oklahoma before dying in Tulsa in 1985.
Dang, I remember that. No, I'm just kidding.
Kelly served his sentence in Leavenworth, but then he became one of the first prisoners transferred to the brand new federal prison, Alcatraz. Google Alcatraz for me. Let's talk about that for a minute, guys.
Alcatraz is pretty cool.
It's on an island, right?
Yeah. ALA.
Oh, sorry.
T, right?
Damn it, where'd it go? ALCA.
Oh, here we go.
TRAZ. Yeah. Speaking of, if you live in Oklahoma, I don't know if you saw this on the news, but last week, 2 guys escaped from the Oklahoma City prison.
Oh my God.
Old school, tying blankets and shit. You could see it hanging out the window.
What the fuck? And no one caught that?
No, not till they were gone.
Oh my God.
I just couldn't. It was so comical. Like, oh, wow.
That's crazy. That's stupid. That's a...
Now, what's the history on Alcatraz, though? It doesn't go anymore, right?
No, it's not a prison. It started out in the Civil War days as a prison. For the war.
Oh, now you can visit it and shit.
Yeah, it's a tourist attraction. Yeah.
This explains everything. I think our cousin, well, whatever he is to you, nephew.
Who?
Jeremy.
Oh, yeah.
I think Jeremy, he visited there because I have a hoodie of his that I stole that says, I survived Alcatraz. We apologize for our children. Do I need to let him out?
Yeah. Give us 1 minute because Reed's being loud. Someone.
It's okay. I'll record over it.
Ow.
Sorry. Get out. Oh.
Sorry about that, guys. One day we'll have a quiet time.
Yeah. One day we'll have a real studio.
Yes. Anyways,
as of right now, we do not.
Alcatraz, yeah, it was a prison for years. That's where they sent the worst of the worst. Al Capone was there. The Birdman of Alcatraz was there.
Well, Machine Gun Kelly was there, but he was eventually returned to Leavenworth.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool place. I'd love to visit. That thing is huge.
Yeah, I'm so sorry for the dog barking. We have like 1 million adults outside that are supposed to be keeping things quiet, but you know, apparently it's a really hard job to do.
I know, it's ridiculous.
Anyways, the ending to my story was just that Machine Gun Kelly spent the rest of his life behind bars. He was eventually returned to Leavenworth in 1950s. And he died in prison on July 18th, 1954, on his 59th birthday.
Ooh.
His father-in-law paroled from prison a few years earlier. So, Catherine's dad brought his body back to Texas. A simple poured concrete gravestone marks his final resting place in Cottondale Cemetery, close to the Shannons' old farm. And listen to this. More than half of the ransom money, some $100,000, was never recovered. It's still buried somewhere on a ranch in places all over Texas. Sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. We're here.
We're here, we need a real studio. Knows Wednesday we record, and everybody.
We need a real studio.
Everybody's wanting to freaking call and come.
I can't help it that we're popular.
Everybody loves us, but there's my guy.
Ooh, I like an old man too, though.
Yeah, well, see this guy, man.
Joseph Savelio.
Now remember, he took over after one of the last brother that started the Dallas Mafia died. Then he took over in 56. Yeah, he took over the family in 56, and he was one of the guys that attended the infamous Apache meeting. If you're good with your mafia stuff, you know what the Apachula or Apachelan. Anyways, it was a meeting up in New Jersey in 1957, and apparently, like every 10 years, the bosses would all get together somewhere. Appalachia, yeah, the Appalachia meeting, and they met up there, and it's in New Jersey. Well, what got them caught is there's a DPS officer that lives down the street from this house they was having their little shindig at. He kept noticing these brand new cars rolling up, guys in suits getting out.
He's like
coming over here for a cooking hamburgers for a cookout, and they're like, they're kind of overdressed for a cookout. So he started running the license plates and calling them in to his buddy, and he found out that they was all mobsters. So they got a crap ton of buddies together and raided the place. And that's when they started looking at the Dallas family, was when he got arrested up there.
Damn.
Yeah, that was a
That's
big
cool
thing.
though. I can't even imagine like, okay, I'm gonna write down all these license plate numbers, and I'm gonna
call
call my
him
buddy
in.
and be like, hey, I
Yeah,
need to know who this is.
it's crazy. Why would you meet like that anyway in his little suburb area, even if it was in the country?
It would be like, okay, you know how we have parties at my mom's house?
Yes.
But it would be like nowadays everybody's showing up in Escalades and like wearing
Cadillacs
$500 dresses
yes.
and $3,000 suits, but we're hanging out in a double wide in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it was crazy. Well, that's when they started looking, you know, at his stuff he had in Texas. And at the time, he was in control of narcotics, gambling, and prostitution in some of the nightclubs in Texas. You could get a Coke and a blow.
Yeah.
Can a smoke and a pancake? Smoking a BJ? A smoke and a snort?
A bong and a blitz?
Mmm. Okay, and then January 13th, 1960, Savello was indicted for conspiracy and a pre-jury offense.
It's the conspiracy charges that got him every time.
I know.
They could never actually get them on anything concrete, but conspiracy shit.
Yes.
Every time.
Well, he got indicted then, and 19 others of his were sentenced to all to 5 years in prison. But within 10 months later, it was overturned that they got what do they call it when the people's fucking with the evidence, tampering with the evidence, or something like that. So it got
evidence tampering. So it got a what did he do?
It got overturned, and everybody got out. But then, like from basically, this guy was pretty quiet when he was the boss. I couldn't find anything bad really besides when he got indicted. Then he got off it, and then he died in 1970. And then the FBI quit looking for him, looking at Dallas, because they thought, well, they're kind of minute now. They're
like all the big guys have died, so we have no reason to keep watching you.
Yeah, all the big guys from the past are gone, so they just kind of quit watching them. But they say after that, Joseph Lonnie took over. So I don't know who's doing it now. But then this Savello guy.
Ooh, look at your little diagram here.
Look, this is who he was related to. Frank DeSimone from the LA family, and then Antonio Musso from the Rockford, Illinois family, and then
James Vincenzo.
He was
Coletti.
Coletti.
Oh.
He was from the Colorado family, and these were just his friends. Benny Bynum, he was just a regular old gangster, but he was pretty well known apparently. And this Giovanni Monta, he was a capo for the Lucchi crime family. And then you got Carlos.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, and then it's Carlos Marcelos. He was the boss of New Orleans, and they say he was the one who, even though they had families and a boss over here in Dallas, he was still like the main guy down here. See, and that's what people liked about here in Texas, because it was so big. And like in New York, you got 5 families.
Sorry, I can't help it.
In New York, you got 5 families. You could do the same thing here in Texas. You had Dallas, Houston, Galveston, I believe El Paso, and I think Abilene or something.
Abilene.
But the Carlos guy, then Jimmy the Hat Lunzi, he was.
I've heard of that one too.
Yeah, he was part of the San Francisco family. See, that's their internet strung everywhere. And then Santiago Ching, what?
Traficante?
Yeah, Traficante. He was the boss of Tampa Bay. I've known about him. He was another. I've heard about Santo.
I'm sorry, but these words are hard to pronounce.
Yes.
I'm just plain ass white. I'm not Italian or French or anything.
But that was just his. That was just his friends. And the first ones was his relatives. I'm like,
his friends.
Just his friends.
I really like his style as well.
Yes, he keeps it. I mean, and there was nothing I could find. I mean, in his younger days, I found stuff. He had him. That's how he got in the family. He ran he had a little gang. And then came on there, and then he became a capo and worked his way up. See, in the mob, you start out as a foot soldier, working for a crew that works for the family. Well, then you get moved up in that crew, and let's say you become the capo of that. I mean, you become the leader of that crew. You're still a foot soldier, but you're still like kind of high. You're not a piece of shit foot soldier. You're a big guy. Well, then when you become a capo, you run them little gangs. They work for you. So, like me and Ashley, I don't know, we would be capos, and then when you become a capo, you're a made man because you are like a part of the family.
Even though now, but would they do that for people that weren't blood relation?
Yeah, back in the old days, you had to be blood relations, and your blood had to originate from Sicily.
Oh, okay.
So
I don't, and this is irrelevant, but
because
like,
see, Lucky Luciani's the one who changed that. One of his right hand men was like half Irish, half Italian.
Okay.
So
well, you've seen Boondock Saints, right?
Yeah.
You remember the guy that goes crazy and he literally knows everything about the mob, but they like never let him do anything more, so he goes against him.
Yeah.
The guy that gets all crazy and shoots. Yeah, shut your fucking cat. I can't go to the gas station without running into 9 guys. You fucked.
That's so funny.
If you've ever seen Boondock Saints, he is an exuberant character, but it's a great movie.
But yeah, he pretty much kept his nose clean. Like I said, when he took over the family in '56, he really kind of didn't. Once he worked up in the family, I noticed he kind of quit doing. Well, when you work yourself up the family like that, you don't have to do so much of the killings and the bullshit anymore. So, but yeah, he was one of them old dons, man. He was old school, very old school. Look at him, young guy.
Old school. Yeah, I like it though. I like the old style.
All right. Well.
All right. So, I have an announcement to make.
She's pregnant.
No, hell no! Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. I want y'all to keep listening, and since this one was a long time, I want you to tune in next week for Deep Thoughts with Ash Handy, brought to you by Hot Secretaries. But yes. I would like Steven to share why there will only be 4 comments instead of 5. Oh
yeah, usually we do 5. Yeah. Well, I was like I do.
Like we said last time, it's like a whole network. Like all these guys that comment on Pornhub, like they all know each other. They all know.
Yeah, I mean they're like, hey, what's her name? Oh, well that's Lisa Moonke. She did this. She used to work for the Bang Brothers. Now I'm like, they keep up with them like guys that keep up with football.
But Steven was finally grossed out enough that he had to leave the comment section.
I was looking for number 4, and when I seen this one post this guy wrote that said basically he just spanked his monkey and spooged on his belly, and he was like, and I know. I'm done. That motherfucker ruined it with his nasty ass.
So whoever you are, thank you.
You sick ass.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to get a different feel. Episode 10 has had the most plays, and I don't know what we did in that one. We're going to start trying to get to the stories first and trying to bullshit a little bit more at the end and advertise at the end. See if that works a little bit. Whatever we did in episode 10, y'all love it.
Don't forget, guys, we're on Stitcher and we're on Podbean too now.
Yeah, and iHeart and Spotify.
And our email.
And Apple Music.
Yeah, Apple Music.
Send me a fucking email.
Y'all send us some emails,
Trash at yahoo.com. I'm so lonely.
We've got our Twitter.
I'm just kidding.
I'm so lonely. What's that Chinese guy? Off that movie with the ones that made South Park. America. Fuck yeah!
Oh, Team America.
Yeah. That Chinese guy on there.
The motherfucking day, yeah. Well, they're making fun of Kim Jong-un.
Yes, and he's going through the hallways
I'm so lonely. If you like puppets and you like comedy, you should watch
I'm surrounded by fucking idiots. But y'all check out the Instagram and the Twitter.
Yeah.
Facebook too.
Been working really hard on the Facebooks and the Instagrams and all the research. And like I said, we're just going to keep doing every episode the way that we feel maybe you'll like it, and we're just kind of basing it off which ones you're playing the most. So
yeah. Next week, I'm not for sure who I'm going to cover. Don't know if I'm going to cover the Houston family or the Galveston family, or I might just say screw it and just cover something else.
I'm going to try to find something that didn't take as long as this one, because I don't want to be an asshole and like take up all the time just on my stories every time.
We can always break them up. If they get too big, we can always break them up. So do that.
I think this was good. And the only reason I stopped on the deep thoughts is because, like I said, I want to make y'all want to come back.
Come back.
So I feel like taking it away from you today, and I'll give it back to you next week. But yeah, we successfully brought you these stories today with a belly full of brisket and garlic bread.
Yes, it was yummy.
God, it was like a white trash 5-course meal.
Yes, it was freaking amazing.
Yeah.
I loved it. But you guys can start going to Patreon and check our stuff out. We're going to start, like I said, we're going to have our normal stuff on here. But if it's I'd say the next, 3 or 4 episodes is when you might look for that watch along. And if it goes good, we'll start doing watch alongs, but on Patreon. So let us know. We'll try that in the next couple weeks. We'll get it planned out, and I want to try to start getting some more stuff just for Patreon with me and Ashley.
Steven doesn't know anyone's name today.
No, I've got to went name dumb.
We have too many dogs and animals and kids.
Last week was so nice recording.
You know, surprisingly, today, though,
Besides the dog.
I haven't heard anything from the kids.
I know.
How
kids
nice
have been
of
good.
them. How nice of them.
That's very nice.
So sweet of you.
I'm staying from harsh.
Speak of the devil, someone's at the door, so I guess we better...
I'll be a son of a bitch, you know what I mean? It's the most recognizable name in podcasting today. Stephen Booth, ladies and gentlemen.
Alright, guys, well, you know what I say. Be good or be good at it.
Be good and be square, and don't be too ware. The power with the flower. I'm Stephen Booth, and I'll see you next hour.
Love you guys.
That'd be creepy as fuck. They're driving down the road. Oh, and this right here, that's our roll down, and I was like, oh, I can't breathe, and I was like, I better not say that. Oh, and then this other one is when Reed started barking.
I like how you set this up.
It's fucking amazing. My redneck shit. Every time I'm putting this up, you know what plays in my head?
Redneck shit.
Yes, that fucking song.
My redneck. One of these days, we're gonna have to record how we do all this.
Yes.
It's just so everybody can see.
Let's see.
That was a good episode.
Yes, it was.
I did not really mess up.
No, you didn't. I was the one who couldn't remember freaking names.
Well, you didn't really mess anything up either. But remember the last big story I had? Like, I couldn't say anything right. I was saying my O's like this.
Yes.
I did that one pretty clear. Alright, I gotta take a break and then I gotta come in.
Yes, we'll come in here and do this. No.
No, don't touch anything.
Stop, peckerhead. Where's my phone? Oh, what are you doing, Jackson? What are you? Oh, that's your old ring. I was like, don't do that to your. Nah.
Texas showed their rage also. Celebrating with his that green right in that sinister green. I totally interrupted you. I apologize. Go for it. It's about the thing he's saying to say that on ATC. I told you, you should have joined us. Right, that's exactly it. One shot, nothing there. And this clothesline turning page inside out. Everyone said this about the Bobby Lee says, hope the men are doing this versus. Look for that, it's not lost. You're right, I don't know. Hey, hang around with winners with the top corner, man. Them more done like the words. This is a hell of a night. With us. Can't miss triple header. Crowd favorites set out to defend their spot against teams looking to rise in the ranks. Heat Bucks, Clippers Mavericks, Lakers Rockets. Tomorrow at 4. Presented by State Farm on TNT and on the Watch TNT app. Fish roll, risotto, buffalo, gelato, curry, cacciatore, chimichurri, fried turkey, blueberry, flurry, cheesecake, grilled steak, clam-baked milkshake. We are America's Kitchen, DoorDash, every flavor welcome. We asked super rich people if they prefer paying more with cable TV or paying less for their favorite channels with Sling. The Spencers had no response. Preston doesn't know the cost of anything. Lillian thought she was sitting for her portrait. And Brad was too busy buying a yacht. Talk to me. Because they're super rich. They don't care about saving money. But you do. Make the smart choice and switch to Sling. Get the best of cable for the best price. Get started in 5 minutes at sling.com. Cheesy stuff, crazy bread. I must be dreaming. No, it's actually a real thing. You should try it. It's delicious. New stuffed crazy bread with crazy sauce. Just $3.49. It's not a dream. Some people just weren't meant to work in an office. Put your potential to work at Lincoln Tech. This is what an art class looks like at our school. Lincoln Tech. Put your potential to work. If you know me, you know I love my car. No matter how much I love them, I know they're going to break down. And that's why I protect my baby from car. I know a car out of warranty means repairs are going to be expensive. And Car Shield helps get those repairs covered, so I don't have to. Yeah! That's simple. Make the smart choice and protect yourself from expensive car breakdowns. Call 800-930-3519. Ah! Why? Why?
Our own space, so why not own it? Browse Enterprise Car Sales' wide selection of quality pre-owned vehicles and start buying online. Plus, utilize vehicle delivery options. When you're ready, we're ready. Wait, are you dating? No way!
mix and match. Your way. Way better. Keep watching TNT and order Burger King delivery by scanning the QR code that's coming up.
Well, this is a very day, obviously. And that nice band, come to find out, belongs to Trent's mom.
Yeah, that's Sue's van, and she had told them, I think it's that park it somewhere safe.
Not where you usually park.
No, not the other side of Daly's place here. They parked it, and they were right here for the match coming up. That was earlier today. We cannot wait.
What's up, man? You gonna watch some wrestling with Ashley?
Yeah, because I'm out to throw the rumble now.
You are?
We'll go ahead and put our microphones up real
Yeah.
quick, too.
I'll tell you what, these two men right here, Box and Doggy, hope they both end up there.
Back there at home with some cottage cheese. I used to eat that. I don't think
Do I do anything to this whenever we're done with it?
Just make sure you turn everything off. Like right now, you can just leave this on. Just turn the mics off.
Younger.
Just these two?
Yes. You can come. I'm fixing to move, and you can sit here.
Oh, good.
It's like I am a ghost. My name's Jack. Jack Computer.
Don't fight that guy. Don't do that. Don't do this or that. Cut it out. Looking back, in some cases,
Looking back, I see my mistakes.
because I paid a price. But in some cases, looking back,
Want to move this
I
computer?
wouldn't change a thing.
No, it's all good.
So I get it.
Fine. Yeah. Okay. Well, there's that. Like I told you, in 2 spots.
Thanks, homie.
Daddy, look.
You ain't gonna get the comfy chair.
Huh?
You ain't gonna get the comfy chair. Hey, why don't you switch me headphones?
I have become the voice of reason. I become the person concerned.
She's like, I'm going to switch.
Oh, yeah.
Watch it.
I'm saving up my money. I'm gonna get the bigger captain's chair from that, and head back a bit since it's high.
It's never crossed his mind.
All right.
The last time we wrestled, I nearly broke his neck. But it weighs heavily on me.
Oh.
I don't
I think at the next pay-per-view, Jackson, are coming up soon. It's gonna be Moxley and MJF for the title, bro. Who you gonna go for?
You know Rose, MJF.
Yeah,
And no,
because he's better than you. Oh, you know what Lexi said? She said MJF.
You made yourself just like everyone
no.
else.
No.
Hey, don't touch my hair.
Don't touch my hair.
Jackson! Dean!
Asshole.
But
Smack me right in my face.
when it's time to stay down, just stay down. Even though I know you're not gonna listen. Because I wouldn't. I'm actually looking forward to our main event tonight. I'm looking forward to see Mox and Darby beat the holy high hell out of each other. I know they're sick of both. We will see Cody and Matt Cardona in tag team action against John Silver and Alex Reynolds of the Dark Order. An update on MJF. It was announced earlier that he'll get a world title match at All Out. We'll hear from him tonight. And then our Super Wednesday debate between Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy with a special guest moderator. That's all coming up tonight.
Following is a tag team bout set for one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Entries first from New York, at a combined weight of 425 pounds. Santana and Ortiz.
Kitty. Hi. Hi, Kitty. Do you have any water? You have water?
Active Santana Ortiz was about to say what they're seeking their first AFL tag team title opportunity. So, yeah, I believe it. I believe Santana Ortiz pressure guys in circle members. Traveling up closer. So,
So this is a good ball put in the top of the fair. Those marks of Moxie just give me chills. Yeah, I know what Moxie is
it shows that they can fall for the back of my throat here on the pushes. You tend to make a difference for the lineup this, but I feel the same way. We've seen Moxie talk a lot, but I never saw him with this either. That I know of.
a couple of times I've seen Santana straight out here. He's not here on the AEW segment, so he thinks he wants some support his fair Taylor work.
Let's go behind right there by Santana. Hooks up. Breaks the grip. Gets 2 on 1 6 moves into the hammerlock.
I guess that's coming up this way.
We got that picture breaking that line. Once in where in my name. It's weak. That's the secret match. 30 winners in 12. This night is Orange County. Normally out here with best friends, but he's the medical team. Got that debate coming up with Chris Jericho. Good job right there. Good job. These are his 2 fighting examples of 2 fighting.
New York City. My dreams. I don't think a man will let me bring like he did before the road.
You got to be careful with that track. You can control that win like all of Ortiz. It's a dangerous guy is Trent.
Here on MMA talking about risk control.
That's my grip.
Very important passage.
Seems to favor Santana Ortiz here. Yeah, they want to grind it down. I should have told you. They want to grind it down, beat you down. Right now, Chuck's having a problem. He's trying to crawl away from his partner.
Teeny. What are you doing? Let's go get your toy. Watch out, we'll get you some toys. Watch out, we'll get you a toy, Teeny. We'll get you a toy. We'll get you a toy.
Where did you see the hats on here? Hmm.
I want to save some barbecue sauce. I want to watch some wrestling. But first, here's a picture.
Alice loves the scent of gain so much. She wished there was a way to make it last longer. Say hello to your fairy godmother, Alice. And long-lasting Gain scent pills. Part of the irresistible scent collection from Gain.
I let them walk and pick Popeye's hot chicken and we take her reaction.
You know what's up? It hits all the spots. That tang, that spice.
Get our new hot honey chicken with a side of biscuit for only $5.
Frito-Lay Variety Packs presents Totally Unrealistic, Never Gonna Happen in a Million Years
Oh, shit.
Bomb Fantasy.